Did you watch Raw?
Yeah.
You did. All right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Raw. All right. What do we got here? So Raw opens up with Punk coming out. Okay. He acknowledged John Cena retiring. He said he was then go turn his focus to Drew McIntyre. Pull up the other chart, Joe. I don't like that one.
I only look at that because it gives me the total.
Okay, what was the numbers here? All right, let's see what we got. Okay, let's go over this. So the opening segment was Punk. I needed 1.93 to like 1.89, yeah. So Punk said he was tempted to look on the ring for McIntyre, but he got himself suspended. And Punk pointed to the big screen of McIntyre snapping at the post show and hitting General Manager Adam Pearce in the head with an elbow, so he gets suspended. Punk said the ratings took a dip because McIntyre was on television, and Punk said he's been trying to teach McIntyre the lesson there are consequences for his actions. Punk said McIntyre should not be surprised he picked a fight with him and he fought back. Punk recalled saying that McIntyre will never be champion again as long as he has air in his lungs. Promise fulfilled, Punk said. Then Punk noted that he wants to get his hands on McIntyre and he can't do that if he's suspended. Punk said he was fined $25,000 for his actions Money in the Bank, called it money well spent, and said the keyboard warrior McIntyre was fined $50,000. Then Punk asked Jack Tunney or Adam Pearce to lift the suspension and called for Pearce to come out, but said Seth Rollins comes out. Punk sat at the broadcast table and put on Maxie's headsets for a brief chat with Cole, and then Rollins came to the ring and said, so let me get this straight. Now you want to sit in the sidelines? Rollins said he knows Punk loves the spotlight, encouraged him to get in the ring with him before question whether Punk was afraid he would kick it. Punk recalled warning Rollins that last time they spoke, he warned Rollins that the only time he would let him speak disrespectfully to him, and he warned Rollins to watch what he said. Rollins asked Punk why the saying actions have consequences applies to everyone in Punk's life but Punk. Rollins questioned why Punk stuck his nose in his business after he warned him not to. It's like, your business, Punk asked? Punk said he was handling his own business. Punk assumed that Rollins would be more understanding given that he's a wife and a daughter, and then Punk brought up McIntyre wearing the bracelet with Punk's wife and dog's name on it. Punk said that if somehow someone screwed up Rollins being the world champion or whatever your little pipe dream is, Rollins took offense to that. And Punk said he was trying to apologize legitimately. I'm sorry. I apologize, Punk said. I didn't mean to screw anything up for you. I'm a little snowblind with rage right now, and I have a singular focus. I understand you do too, and I'm sorry. Punk added that because it was Rollins, he couldn't be that sorry. Said he always has an answer. Rollins called it gaslighting. Rollins called Punk the king of propaganda and said he's the dumbest smart guy he's ever met in his life. Rollins said Punk hasn't figured out the world does not revolve around him and said Punk can be a selfish burn bridges anywhere else. Rollins said he's let it slide because he's above Punk. Then Rollins said he was willing to let Punk's selfishness slide until he cost him the World Heavyweight Championship. Then Rollins said becoming champion isn't a pipe dream. He said Punk took it from him and now would take it from Punk. Rollins said he could take a cheap shot at Punk, but he knows his fragile little body isn't 100%. Then Rollins said Punk wouldn't he be able to say McIntyre's name once he's cleared before Rollins snaps his arm and puts him back on the shelf? Actions have consequences, Rollins said before dropping the mic and leaving the ring. What'd you think of this?
I thought it was good. I mean, obviously his whole thing was actions have consequences, right? Mm-hmm. And you know, ever since Drew injured CM Punk, where was it, at the Royal Rumble?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, Punk basically said that, you know, Drew would never be champion as long as he was alive or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And Money in the Bank was payback time. He McIntyre, which he also them in Castle or whatever, what was that? Clash at the Castle, you know, and now he ruined in his cash-in attempt. Seth Rollins, and this is very logical, Seth Rollins is mad because of Punk's attack on Drew. Damian Priest kept the world title, which meant he couldn't challenge for it anymore, as you alluded to before. To me, this is good, logical storytelling, you know?
Let me tell you another thing about it, too, which I find there's a lot of nuance to this conversation, but it's all based on actions that have happened to both of the characters, right?
Right.
Bro, remember 2-3 years ago, or maybe, you know, when all the promos sounded very scripted, like they were reciting line. Bro, this doesn't even look like two guys that were reading like a scripted promo.
Right.
This is just two guys that know exactly what their characters are doing.
Right. They probably just give them bullet points and let them.
What they would say. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what I would say, you know, based on what's happening here. And if you say this to me, I'm going to say this back. And it's just it almost seems like they're ad-libbing a little bit out there.
Right.
You know, so very.
Do you know any of that do you know any of that for a fact, Konnan? Has anyone that you talked to been explained to you like, yeah, it's way more open now. It's not a script. It's just this and that. Have you heard anything like that?
Yeah, it is.
Some guys, not for everybody.
Yeah.
But I think the guys that they have confidence in, they let them do their, and the guys they don't, they write it. So you can tell, bro. Just listen.
Yeah.
Some of them, you know, like they always give Ray really whack.
Right.
This was a good promo because if you remember, before there was a Drew and a Punk, it was Seth and Punk. Remember?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Seth didn't want him to be there at all, so they're just reigniting what they had before. And this is great because once Punk and McIntyre are done, you've got a fresh Seth waiting on the way. I mean, everything is being set up so well, and I thought it was funny before Punk could mention it that that Rollins said, "I'm above you," and I'm not just talking about the heels.
Right.
I popped at that.
Yeah. So next is what do you call it? So Dom backstage as Adam Pearce said he didn't want to team with Liv. He said, well, he's called him sticking his nose in the last few Women's World Championship matches and told him the tag match was on. Then Liv showed up and said she felt bad about what happened last week, wanted to make it up to him by helping him show who the real daddy of the Mysterio family is. And Dom said, fine, but she better make sure they win. And she said, we need to go talk our strategy. All right. So then Jey Uso and Chad Gable have a match that's interrupted by the dark lights going out and the Wyatt Six come out, and the smoke comes out, and the girl comes out and leaves a present on the table again. And Jey Uso was like, I'm getting out of here. And he did the thing where he looks at the camera and goes, yeet, like,
that was funny.
Exit stage right. He ran away. Gable ran away, and they left a videotape.
I like how everybody sells, you know, when she shows up, which is good.
So then Sheamus told Jackie Redmond backstage that what they watched was weird. Redmond said they hope to get clarification what's in the box. like everybody doesn't know it's a VCR tape. So she congratulated Sheamus on 15 years in the business. And then Bronson Reed showed up and said they shouldn't be celebrating Sheamus' anniversary when he lost. Reed said he was the one with the match and called himself the future. And Sheamus said if Reed hadn't watched his career for the last 15 years, that he should know what happens when you interrupt him. Reed said he would fight Sheamus, but not tonight. And Reed said Sheamus could watch what he does to his mate Pete Dunne. So I thought that was interesting.
Let me just say this. On the graphic, okay, when they introduced Bronson Reed, did you see what name they gave him?
Big Bronson Reed?
Dude, I mean, really?
Yeah, that's what they call him, Big Bronson Reed. He's big.
Okay, yeah, we know he's big. You don't put Big Bron. It's like Big Bill.
That's like big. They're going to start changing his name to BBR. What was that goofy nickname they were giving Keith Lee? Bearcat? Bearcat, right?
No, I don't think it was Bearcat.
Keith Lee for a minute? I think he was. Look that up, Joe.
Yeah.
I think they called him Bearcat.
Keith Bearcat Lee, yeah.
There's still some nerdy creative people there, right? So they do Bronson Reed versus Pete
like,
Dunne.
you know what Nikki Cross's name is? I've read this the other day for the first time.
No.
Abby the Witch.
Oh my God. So Bronson Reed is beating up
Big Bronson Reed.
Big Bronson Reed.
Yeah.
He beats him with the splash. Dunne got a little bit of offense in, but this was basically selling.
Who thought Pete Dunne was going to beat him?
No,
but
nobody.
But here's the problem with Bronson Reed, bro. And they used to do this a lot. They don't do it as much anymore, but he's the victim of stop, start. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Same thing Ricochet was a victim of and others.
Right. So afterwards, he was going to do another finish on Pete Dunne to make him, because he's got heat with Sheamus.
Right.
Sheamus comes out, makes a save, and then Sheamus goes to hug Dunne for saving him. Dunne didn't want anything to do with it because, he left the brutes. So
I like that because I didn't expect it. And WWE does that a lot lately. Like they're making you pay attention.
Right. So what's next here? Damian Priest was talking with Finn and those guys, and and Seth showed up and said he wanted to talk. And basically, Seth had to make a deal where Priest is going to be a fighting champion. He's going to waive that that stipulation where he doesn't get another title shot, which kind of like, I don't know. He kind of just gave it right back after me. I guess Priest has to do like a lot of babyface things here if he's going to be fighting Gunther because they want Gunther to be the heel. Right. You don't want to do a heel versus heel for SummerSlam. So I'm looking for maybe a Priest turn here before that match, maybe even with the Judgment Day and stuff. Like we could be something culminating with Priest and these guys. You think so?
Could be, man. They've been doing a lot of stuff that you don't expect, and I like that.
Right. Oh, by the way, where he said, I have to take a call at the end of this segment.
Right.
So he's getting a phone call, right? And they shouldn't have done that, to be honest with you, based on what happened later.
Bro, let me tell you the worst thing they did. And I don't know if you noticed this. And they should have done this after what happened in the main event.
Right.
They showed a graphic of a fan fest, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Rhea Ripley's face was on it.
Right.
Bro, they should not have done that before she came out.
Right.
Because out of sight, out of mind. And when I saw that, I thought, okay, that's the person on the phone call. Plus, if you remember, later on in the thing, he said, there's a surprise for Dominic, but I'm not going to tell him yet.
Right.
Remember?
Yeah. They were alluding to it. Maybe they were alluding to it because they wanted to tease that she was coming back for the number.
Maybe.
You know? So Zayn comes out. He said he earned a certain level of respect that Braun Breaker didn't bring to the match of Money in the Bank. Zayn said it's one thing to knock him down, but it's another thing to keep him down. Then Braun comes out. Zayn he just stared at him. Zayn asked Breaker if he came out to say anything, he would just keep staring at him. The Breaker said when he came out to look Zayn in the eye while noting that he was the only man in the locker room who was beating him. And Breaker said there's no reason for him to get a rematch. Suddenly, Breaker just speared him out of nowhere and gave him punches. They broke it up, and he's on the floor. Then Breaker was going to go to the back, but instead he kept running around the ring and speared Zayn on the floor again.
Right.
Then Ilja came out to fight him, and Ilja came out, and while Breaker was headed toward the back, it had to be held back. So they made a match for Ilja and Breaker later on. What'd you think of this? They're keeping Breaker looking strong. Yeah, it's looking strong.
It was good. Yeah.
So Cole. So then they do Braun Strowman, R-Truth, and The Miz versus Finn, JD, and Carlito. And they did a deal where Truth played to the crowd, was hit by a shotgun dropping from Balor, hit him with a coup de grace and pinned him. So Truth kind of screwed it up, and he gave the Judgment Day a win. So I would have liked to have actually an interview but with Braun and these guys beforehand, maybe. Like Braun's kind of like, I don't know, they were doing something with Braun, but now they're like doing nothing with Braun. Kind of seems like.
Yeah, they kind of got him stuck with the, first he was with Judgment Day, now he's with Miz, and like I don't think they've decided what they're going to do with him yet.
Yeah. So next, CM Punk was talking with Pierce and said Punk is half the problem. He's not medically cleared. He said, we'll call Drew McIntyre next week to set up a meeting to see if he's in place mentally to do business. And Pierce said he needs Punk to stay home. Pierce said he knows McIntyre likes to pick fights and Punk is the one to back down. And Pierce said if it happens again, the match with McIntyre and title aspirations are out the window. Pierce told Punk to go home, pet Larry, and get healthy, and Punk agreed. The strongest faction in...
Something that I forgot to say. So when Priest was talking to Seth backstage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Priest basically told him, hey, remember that Seth can't go for the title?
Right.
He basically said, well, it's a gentleman's agreement. It wasn't something that Pierce brought up or it wasn't anything sanctioned. It was just a gentleman's agreement. Right. He said, throw that out the window because when I'm done with this ring, then you got a shot. I thought that was I don't like that. That was.
I wasn't a fan of it either. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of it either. So next was the strongest faction in the WWE, the LWO, had a backstage thing, and Rey Mysterio and Zelina Vega were shown talking in the locker room. Do you see that, Konnan? They were talking in the locker room.
Yes.
So they go inside the Judgment Day playhouse, and Dom is playing video games, and Liv said they should work on their double team moves. Morgan said Dom wants this as badly as she does, and Dom said the only thing he wants badly is to beat his deadbeat dad. And Morgan claimed that's what she meant. She said Dom needed to loosen up. So he shoved him on the couch and started stretching his hamstring and hopped on top of him. The Damian Priest and the other guys entered the room. They were peeking around the corner. Priest said Dom should have done with this and added it's not that hard. And Carlito said it looks pretty hard to me.
That was great. That was great.
Then Dom said Priest sounded like his dad. And Priest said he started to understand Dom's dad more every week. And Dom said he thought he would put an end to it and would do that now. And after Dom left the room, Balor said Priest mentioned that he wanted to tell him something. And Priest said he'd keep it to himself and Dom would find out on his own anyway.
Right.
So then they do the Bo Dallas Uncle Howdy gimmick again. Basically, the thing is basically he's calling out the family of Gable turning on his family. They actually showed the faces of Joe Gacy and Eric Rowan in this video. And Dallas asked if you think we are sick. Then Howdy's voice responded, "Yes, I do." Then Dallas added, "Then sick is what we will be." So this is a good bro. He's a good character actor. These are all very good promos. What did you think of this?
It was very good. I saw this thing. It was on my timeline of Vince Russo going, "Oh, this guy's a real good actor, and everybody else sucks."
Yeah.
Dude, he's not the only guy that could do that role. If they gave it to other people, they could do that role too.
Right. Yeah. So backstage, Gable and Pierce. Gable told Pierce.
What do you think of that comment?
I talked about Vince that today. He's just nitpicking stuff that he doesn't deserve any nitpicking.
Right.
Like
I just wanted to see
he's criticizing the acting, and I'm going Vince. I go, they're selling out. Their numbers are good. The social media numbers are through the roof.
Right.
I go, you could be critical of it, but it's not like there's no criticism being warranted yet. When the numbers start going down,
right,
they stop selling out. But right now they're riding a wave, and it's like I don't see like the wave, because bro, there's Roman's coming back. Now it's going to
not only that,
better,
just great booking, great storylines. They've gotten a lot of people over, and they got stuff waiting in the rings. Whether it's Roman and Rock, Roman and Sikoa, the Drew and Punk and Seth. Like they've got set up for the future.
Right.
Who knows what's going to happen now with Ripley and Dom and Liv? I mean, they're just firing on all cylinders.
So this is kind of interesting. So Chad Gable corners Adam Pierce outside his locker room door. Gable told Pierce that the Wyatts are clearly talking about him, and he was upset that Pierce wasn't doing anything about it. And Gable said he would take care of it in his way, and then he expected a sincere apology from Pierce and everybody else. Gable said, "How about a vacation given the month he has had?" Then Pierce turns around and opens the door, and sitting on the couch is Bo Dallas.
Right.
It turns
that was great.
Really good tease right there,
That was very good, yeah.
So they gave it actually, I didn't see any of this. So Damage Control got a video package because Asuka is still hurt. Talking about their 6-woman tag match, and Io Sky said that because they lost control tonight, they would take it back. We do Braun versus what do you call it? Braun against Ilja and Dragunov, and I guess these guys have fought a lot in NXT too because they got pretty good chemistry with each other. Because Braun, obviously they've worked each other because Braun sells a lot for this guy.
Right, they have worked before.
Yeah. So he's selling. This is 2 matches in a row. He's done it. Like he doesn't. He's not averse to selling.
Right.
Actually sells pretty good too.
Right.
He just sells a lot. He sells more than I wish he would.
Right.
Like I said, that'd be my only criticism. Okay, but he still sells good. So they go to the floor, and Breaker got a running start and was caught with a kick by Dragunov. And then Dragunov charged at Breaker, who tossed an office chair at him. Then Zayn comes out with selling his ribs. And Breaker pulled Zayn to ringside and ran him in the ring post before tossing him over the broadcast table. He tossed Dragunov over the broad. It's like he just dumped these 2 guys like trash over the broadcast table and then stood on the broadcast table and got his props here. So that's 2 segments. He finished strong. So he got his heat back after the
and
run.
they protected Dragunov.
Yeah.
With a non-finish.
Yeah. This was kind of weird. Okay.
And then here's another thing how I say setting up the table for the future. He still hasn't finished his rivalry with Zayn, and once he does, he's got Dragunov waiting. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let me say this. I don't know why this fit into the show based on all the camera time these guys have, and based on he could have told the story when he was doing any of his promos. But they had a Damian Priest video package. And he said he didn't ask Drew McIntyre to cash in or for Punk to get involved. And he said he'd wait for fans to tell him which champion in recent memory has not had controversy or interference around their title reign. He said there isn't any. He said he went to war with Rollins and walked out with the title and said he looks forward to the challenge from Gunther. And Priest said he looked forward to walking into and out of SummerSlam as champion. He told Gunther that he would be happy to say that to his face next week. Yeah, they're definitely setting him up for a babyface thing here. All his verbiage is babyface verbiage. Has he done any heelish things in like the last 3 or 4 weeks?
No.
So he is kind of his actions are a babyface champion, basically. Yep. His actions and his verbiage. Yep. It's just with the Judgment Day, So, so they showed a recap the Cross stuff with last week, and he delivered a promo backstage and said he regretted to inform everyone that Kingston will not be playing the accordion. Cross said the old guard will make way for the new and even John Cena. And Cross said he always thought Xavier Woods was a hell of a talent. He said he'd become his own man, or he could hospitalize him like Kingston.
Let me tell you something. If Karrion wasn't our boy and a good friend of Jesse Ventura, I would not be interested in this at all.
Right.
It's just not interesting to me.
Right. Lyra Valkyria makes her entrance. So they do Damage Control against Lyra Valkyria, Katana Chance, and Caden Carter. So Damage Control wins the match. Okay. After the match, Sonya Deville, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe Stark hit the ring and attacked the Damage Control trio. Then Baszler and Deville held Sky while Starks and Sky cost her everything. And Stark threw a kick at Sky, and Stark tossed Sky in the air, and then Baszler hit her with a knee strike, and Deville hit her advocate move on Sky, and then stood tall with Baszler and Stark. Let me give you Pal's POV on this, okay? Because I disagree. Heel on heel violence. I like the idea of putting Deville with Baszler Stark. Deville is a strong talker who can carry the mic work for the trio, and of course it remains to be seen whether we push consistently or end up trading wins and losses with the rest of the women's undercard wrestlers. I don't think the dynamic. I don't even look like in this angle. I don't look as the Damage Control as the heels. They're all undersized, and all the other girls are like built well and like bigger. This looks like a typical bully angle.
No, they're heels. They're heels.
You think so? Damage Control?
Yeah, I know so. They're
going to turn them though.
They act like heels. They've been heels.
They're going to be baby faces in this though, because the other girls are bigger. You know? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm probably not wrong. I'm never wrong. Do you think I'm ever wrong, Konnan?
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Joe, would you say how often do you think I'm wrong, Joe? Percentage wise?
26%.
You're suspended. So Rey Mysterio and Zelina are in their locker room. They got a promo this time. Vega said she would be the women's world champion if it wasn't for Dom. So the Dom and Liv are a hot mess. Rey said they need to put an end to the story and shut up Dom and Liv. Then Jackie Redmond spoke with Deville, Baszler, Stark, while Chad Gable was seen chatting with the Creed brothers in the background, and Ivy Nile. Then Deville said they just sent a message to the locker room about who runs the division. Stark said the other women can't lace their boots. Deville said she's been trying to make Baszler Starks the killers that they can be, and she said what happened was a warning shot to the entire division. Oh, so then these girls show up on the Raw. I missed this. So then Alba Fire and Isla Dawn show up and said they run the division as long as they have the belts. What did you think of this, Konnan? Tumbleweeds wrapped in a
100%. Crickets inside of tumbleweeds inside of a soundproof booth. Yeah.
Right. Next to the main event.
Let me just say this. That was the lowest rated segment, by the way, right, Joe?
Yeah, because they're not over.
Right. Nobody cares about them. Why are you putting them on so late on the show?
They're trying to make them care about them, but they're not doing any character development.
Right. Plus, they don't have like I'll give you an example. I was glad because Shayna and the other girl, Zoe Starks, they're really good in the ring, but they don't really have a lot of personality, and they're definitely not good on the mic. Sonya Deville adds that missing element, so I like that. You know, Katana and the other one, they're boring. They're not entertaining. They always lose. What is there to root for them or even, you know what I'm saying?
Right. So next is the main event, and basically the finishing sequence is Rey placed Dom on the top turnbuckle and stood on the top rope behind him. Morgan slid a chair inside the ring and then took out Rey while the referee was clearing the chair from the ring. Then Dom hit Rey with a top rope frog splash and pinned him, and Cole said it was the first time Dom had pinned his father. Then Dom acted very excited after the match, and they hugged, but then Dom pulled back. Then Morgan jumped on him. They fell on top of her, and they were verged like they were getting ready to kiss each other when Rhea's music hits. The place went crazy. Morgan's jaw dropped, and she just ran away. Then Ripley entered the ring where Dom had his head hung low, and she used her finger to raise Dom's head so that Dom was looking in her eye. Mommy's back, Ripley said. Then Dom opened his arms for a hug, and the show went off the air. So it was a big teaser at the end.
Well, not only did she go for a hug, he left him standing and left.
Right.
Want to rewatch that ending or no? I got it up here.
We don't have to see it.
Okay.
So at first I was like, why are you hugging her? But then the guy goes, this is the first time he ever beat his dad. So it made sense. You know, he's so excited he finally beat him. He hugged her. Right. You know, and what are you supposed to do when a hot girl's on top of you and about to kiss you? You know what I'm saying?
Right. So, I thought that was a good little piece of business there at the end. But the show to me, the Punk thing was good, and this was good. The Judgment Day is, bro. It's like the whole show is the Judgment Day storylines,
and all their stuff is really good.
Yeah. So I give it. I'm going to give this show 3.5 stars. Are you gonna rate the show with stars, Konnan?
Nah, I don't know. I just thought it was a good show.
So that's been the Raw review.
Boom.
Yo, what's up? I just want to thank you guys for watching this clip. Don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And join our YouTube membership for hours and hours of exclusive, unedited, uncensored content, and being a member will help you get involved in our upcoming live streams. Thank you for your support. Thank you for riding with us. I know you got a lot of other podcast choices, be it wrestling or other ones, and thank you for picking us. Boom.